Shmee! Welcome back, you guys. You are listening to the Shmee podcast. I am your host, Sam Pellicero, at Sam Pellicero on Instagram and at Shmee Podcast. Welcome to episode 37. Today, I am joined by the one and only
Kevin Ross.
Hey, welcome back.
Oh yeah, wow.
I know, it's odd because you didn't really play yourself.
Yeah. I was actually thinking today coming here, I was like, wow, my first podcast, I get one. But then I was like, wait, I was on a podcast before and I didn't
yeah.
So
For you guys who don't know, he played the alien on our Area 51 special, episode 15. But now you're back.
Which was a workout for myself. And I was like, on my knees below the table, arm in the air.
But you played it so good.
Yeah,
that is one of my favorite. That clip of you talking about the cocaine is in the trailer of Shmee because it is so solid.
I was just trying to like come off my head. I was like, what should I say next?
But because you've known me your whole life, you're like the improv just comes naturally too, which is a good segue. So let the audience know how you know me and your first memory of me.
So, Sam and I grew up on Fort Monmouth together, as you guys knew, my brothers that have been on previous podcasts. I actually don't have a memory without Sam in my life because you don't really probably remember anything before you were 5 years old. And I moved to Fort Monmouth when I was 3 years old. And you were probably already there or about to move there, but either way, by the time I was 5,
you were there for a year.
Okay, yeah. But either way, by the time I was 5, you were there, you know? So really, if I were to reach back into like my deepest memories, it's crazy because the first, even though I knew you obviously, basically my whole life, first memories I have of you is like dancing to Miss New Booty in my front yard, us at our local school, elementary school bus stop, and you giving a lap dance to Pour Your Sugar on Me.
That
to a girl that lived in our neighborhood. So literally like the first two memories that I can really pull to, or I guess even if they're not the first, the two that really pop up in my head are you like shaking your ass on someone either in my front yard or at our elementary school bus stop. So
and yet somehow everyone was shocked when I came out of the closet.
Seriously. Everyone's like, what?
Yeah. And you're like, I've known.
Exactly. Like my whole family looked at each other. We were like, is that really surprised?
Oh, should we act surprised?
Exactly. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Well, let's get into today's episode because we have a lot to talk about. A lot. And I'm really excited. So the topic of today's episode, guys, is, I don't want to say health because it's not, that sounds boring.
Yeah.
But it is health oriented because Kevin and I are both health freaks and also random fact freaks and documentary freaks. Like Kevin and I can always just, we will destroy a good documentary. We will just sit on the couch and just go through it. If you like ever caught Kevin and I like off guard doing something, it would be most likely to be watching a documentary.
And it doesn't even stop at that. Like we watch documentaries and then we go down a Google
like a rabbit hole.
Yeah, where I'm like, bro, I watched Hamilton for the first time yesterday. Yeah. And next thing I know, an hour later, I'm like at his great grandchild's Wikipedia page. I found out his son died in Long Branch.
Wait,
like literally on the West End down here. John Church Hamilton. I was like, what? No, I swear, I got down a huge rabbit hole. When I saw Long Branch, I was like,
maybe that's the ghost that's in my apartment.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding you. There's a ghost in here. Like, I'm not kidding you. And it's recent, too. The other day, I was unplugging the lights. I have a backlit bookshelf that I made myself. I'm very proud of it. And I was unplugging the lights when I was going to bed. And I accidentally unplugged the entire multi-outlet. Okay. So the entire room went dark, but it also unplugged my router. I was like, damn it. So the second I was like, damn it, like I wish there was light in here so I could put this thing back together. The backlight on my TV, which was off, just turned on in that moment, giving me the light I needed to then plug the multi-outlet back in.
Why do I feel like every step of your life there's always some fucking ghost or something that you're like saying some weird paranormal shit's
isn't that crazy?
No, I feel like you're always surrounded by paranormal.
Yeah,
things.
yeah. Maybe
You
I'm
doing the whole
dead.
Jersey Devil thing? Maybe it's because you literally go out of your way to research stuff. Like you're like, why am I being haunted? I only went to the Death Museum in New Orleans, and then I went on a hunt for the Jersey Devil.
Okay, I'm feeling exposed. Thank you for exposing me. You're uninvited now from the podcast. But so the first thing I want to talk about today is an update on my dental journey. I feel like I should put like a music behind that. Da-na-na.
It's not that special.
It's not,
Yeah, keep going.
but it is.
It looks pretty good.
Because today's episode is sponsored by my dentist, no lie. So shout out to Dr. O in Oceanport, New Jersey. He is my dentist, and unbeknownst to him, but I did admit on the last episode of the podcast that I had not gone to the dentist for years, and
I remember when my mom heard, she was like, "What?"
Yeah, so it had been a minute since I gone to the dentist because growing up, I always had a horrible time at the dentist. They always just judged me. I don't know why, and I just was lazy. So then going to the dentist, they discovered I had 6 cavities, and I was not shocked. So, but he's like the best dentist I've ever had. So today I was telling him all about what I'm doing tonight. Mm-hmm. And because he purposely gave me a lower dose of the numbing, knowing it would wear off in time for us to record the podcast. And when I told him how, I was like, oh, I've been updating the listeners on Sam's dental journey. And he goes, do you ever have sponsors? And I was like, yeah, here and there. He goes, well, like, how much would it be to sponsor? I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He goes, if you have an audience and you're a great patient, so why not?
Exactly.
So shout out to Dr. Oceanport.
Especially if he does a good job and like the camera is obviously on your mouth speaking. Ding. And you can show your teeth.
My nice smile.
Little zoom in.
Yeah, exactly.
The sparkle like.
Oh my god, that's fun. Ding. He said he was like, we should have like a live stream of your next filling. I'm like, let's not have my entire audience in my mouth. I don't want. No, that's not. They're not invited.
I've been in there.
Hey. So shout out to Dr. O. Oceanport, New Jersey, dental care. They are the best. Well, it's quality dental care because it is quality dental. Wow. But moving on, the next thing I want to hit. So in episode 19, I can actually look behind me and check the wall. Yes, episode 19, chlamydia. The episode about chlamydia. I have IBS, guys. That is the new health update from Sam, is that I was diagnosed 2 months ago with IBS, and because of that, my entire diet has changed, but miraculously, not a lot, because I was already eating very clean.
Yeah.
But the most random things my body cannot eat. Let's see. Yeah. Green bell peppers, asparagus, Brussels sprouts.
Exactly.
Dairy, but
Yeah, you would have stayed away from that anyway.
But us as humans, we shouldn't be eating dairy anyways.
1000%. I completely agree. Humans weren't meant to really take in any dairy besides human milk, which you're only supposed to take in when you're a baby.
Exactly. I always like look in the camera when I get on a little like pedestal. Every species of mammal stops taking their mother's milk after the age of what? 2? Mm-hmm. So do we. But yet we're out here gulping down cow's milk like it's okay.
Actually, I'm pretty sure that became big in the 1950s when all these big cereal brands started to come out, like Kellogg's, and then milk brands were like, push our milk.
Yes.
But what's so crazy is that they'll market like you get this vitamin, this vitamin, this vitamin. Okay, although that may be true, you can get those vitamins in so many other places in your diet and so many other foods.
Absolutely.
That milk is almost unneeded. And for those of you who haven't tried alternate types of milk, if you want to go for like a creaminess, oat milk is great. I prefer cashew milk and almond milk.
Me too.
Unsweetened in almost everything.
Well, want to know what's really funny and like the irony of it all is the milk, or I guess the dairy industry pushes, but then how are you going to get all the calcium? Literally on the front of every Silk almond milk, it says 3 times the amount of calcium in the servings of this almond milk than there is dairy milk.
Exactly, because almond milk and cashew milk, both nuts, have so many nutrients that you need in your daily life. Those good omega-3 fatty acids and everything like that, and so many vitamins that help you in so many ways. Those fatty acids also actually allow your body to absorb other nutrients also. So not only do they help themselves, but when you're eating other foods throughout the day with them, whatever you take in from those are actually going to help you take in more vitamins and minerals. Yeah.
The more you know. So going back to the IBS, because I do want to hit a point that might sound like a little conspiracy theory-y, but online I read, my doctor tried to debunk this, but online it says a lot of times when you're older, IBS is caused by a traumatic incident within your body. So I know someone who he was diagnosed with IBS after he had E. coli. And because that just destroys your gut. And I believe that I have IBS now because I had chlamydia.
Okay.
Because I had undiagnosed chlamydia for months. And I didn't have issues with all these foods that I can no longer eat until, recently. And it's sad because prior to me discovering I had IBS, I thought the way that I felt after I would eat was normal. The uncomfortable bloat, the under the weather feeling. And I just thought, wow, I guess maybe I'm eating too much. Maybe I should, like you do, weigh my food. Maybe, I'm just not having the right portions. No, I was eating the wrong food. The week I was diagnosed was the worst week of my life because of the foods I was eating.
You're probably eating everything that they said not to eat.
Dude, are you ready for this? You're gonna crack up.
You're like, I ate 5 bell peppers. I'm like,
no, really, that's what it was. Okay, so I went on a stuffed pepper binge, and I was cooking them. Dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. I will break down my meal because I meal prep. I'm a huge meal prepper, and I will have a recipe, not a recipe. I'll have a menu that I set, and I cook it all on Sunday, and I have various dishes that I can interchange with each other. So it's always like different.
Yeah.
So this one week, my menu was banana oatmeal, overnight oats in the morning.
Okay.
My dessert, which was the flip on that, was instead of having overnight oats with all those ingredients of banana, oats, cinnamon, yada yada yada, cacao chips, I would take that and I'd bake it in the oven as a dessert.
Okay.
Because it would still rise like an oatmeal cookie, So I was eating that in the morning and thinking, well, it's the same amount of calories as a dessert. Whatever. Okay. So that's like the bookend of my meal. For breakfast, if it wasn't that, it was going to be eggs. And then for lunch, I would rotate either my stuffed specifically green bell peppers, which had garlic and onion in them, or I was doing roasted Brussels sprouts with chicken and a sweet potato and something else. And that whole week, it was just hell. And then I discovered my 5 main triggers of my IBS: chocolate, bananas, onions, garlic.
It's like as your doctor was naming them, you're like, ding.
No,
ding,
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you.
ding.
I was shocked. And so it's chocolate, onions, garlic, bananas, and green bell peppers, or like just the green vegetables I can't eat.
Okay, yeah.
Because he said a lot of the things that are in common there are the nightshade vegetables and fruits. And I thought, well, like, what does that mean? He goes, these vegetables and fruits grow at night. So the chemical breakdown is different than those of, fruits and vegetables that grow during the day.
That's actually so interesting.
So interesting, right? Like, what is it about my body?
I understand it now, but I've never actually
looked back. Absolutely.
Actually thought about that differently.
Totally. And since I follow the FODMAP diet, and I follow the low FODMAP diet. And that is the diet for people with IBS, but it's actually recommended for a lot of people who want to lose weight and also just are having gastro issues.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to look in the camera once again. Since I've been following the low FODMAP diet, my body has never looked better. My skin has never been clearer. And I've never been more mentally sound. Absolutely. Because now when I eat, I feel like I could always eat more in a good way.
Well, that's awesome. That's also, I feel like your body reacting to the foods that it can actually accept now. People don't really realize actually how restrictive IBS is with causing issues. And going back to your whole conspiracy theory about chlamydia, I guess in a way, on one end, it's kind of like it couldn't because I guess it's a different function and system of the body. But then again, in the health world, you should never rule anything out.
Totally.
So it definitely could be.
I could be the anomaly. I could be that one case that
Exactly.
it costs you.
Starts the research.
Yes,
like, oh
I mean,
my
I'm
God.
serious. Yeah, like
Yeah,
doctors come all up in the. Never mind. All right. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you right there.
Yeah. But so my doctor said, Sam, no, I think you just had IBS your whole life, but it wasn't until recently, as you got older,
Mhm.
that now your body's like, nah, I don't want that anymore. I'm
Yeah.
okay. And it does suck because I love chocolate. But it's funny because when I look back, whenever I have had chocolate my entire life, I did always have weird reactions to it.
Mhm.
But I always thought it was just
And
because
it's
it's
weird
sweet.
something like cacao would actually
Still bother me.
bother IBS, not only because of that, but IBS, I believe, is a result of a lot of inflammation.
Yes.
And cacao actually has a high amount of these things called polyphenols,
Okay.
which are things that there's 4 different types of polyphenols, and basically what they are de-inflammatories, which I thought in my head,
Would
putting
help.
2 and 2 together would
Yeah.
help. But I guess not in
Not
you know.
my case.
Yeah, seriously. That is actually wild. But with the low-FOD diet, that's awesome that you're feeling better, and because you're eating food your body can accept. And for anyone listening that has similar symptoms, definitely
try it out.
Yeah. But nutrition is very individualized.
Yes.
So like that's why I always think of like with diets like that, which are great for people with IBS and stuff like that, is people tend to go online and look at any health guru saying eat this or do this, and they're like, well, why isn't it working for me? And
I know.
I'm like, because it's not for you.
It's not you. One of my biggest pet peeves when I first started working out years ago and I would post my progress photos, the comments would always be, tell me what you do. What did you eat? What are you working out? And I said, I can't tell you because it's different for every person.
Exactly.
Literally every person's chemical, I don't know, balance is it's different.
Well,
our
not
bodies.
only just that, but just with someone's goal, like your specific goal should be, well, your nutrition, your exercise should be catered to your goal. For someone who's trying to gain muscle mass, for someone that's trying to lose fat,
yes,
different
exactly.
things like that. Like I saw this. My mom sends me a bunch of stuff from TikTok. She's like, look at this new recipe. Look at this new recipe.
Yeah.
And I saw this one guy who obviously is very cut and everything like that.
There's
He's
so
like,
many of those guys
he's
on
like,
TikTok.
this healthy French toast. And I'm like, okay, although the ingredients are healthy, I'm pretty sure he used like Dave's Killer Bread and all he uses like protein powder and egg whites and stuff like that. Although those are healthier ingredients, someone who's, for instance, trying to lose a lot of fat, even eating that grain will totally offset, because it may work for someone like me who's trained, or someone that was showing it that's totally shredded. But for someone who wants to lose a lot of fat, if you're eating healthy French toast, I'm sorry, but that's just not going to cut it for you.
No pun intended.
Yeah, seriously.
But exactly. When I was starting my fitness journey, take 2 about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, when I quit CrossFit and I went back to just weightlifting, I was following a lot of those guys. I never made any of those recipes, but I wanted that to fight that sweet tooth craving. But my gut always told me this is bullshit. This stuff is not going to work the way you want it to, because one, a lot of it is still in a way processed foods that your body doesn't need and you don't need. And 2, a lot of what makes it healthy. For instance, one of the guys would make, I don't know, let's call them like Fruit Loop protein pancakes. Okay. And he would use literal Fruit Loops, but because of the way he'd break it down, like, oh, it's only this many net carbs, this much sugar. I'm like, but you're still eating Fruit Loops.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't matter.
And he's like, and it has enough protein. I'm like, the amount of added sugar in Fruit Loops is nuts. And back in my, like when I first started this whole fitness journey, I basically completely cut grain almost completely, just because that was specific to my goal then. And now that I have a new really transformed body, and obviously I'm training at different levels, I've started taking in more and more like low carb tortillas, rice cakes.
Okay, I love rice cakes.
Sometimes Dave's bread. Shout out Trader Joe's cauliflower thins. Those have been awesome for me. But that's really only when I started getting trained up again, because that goes back to that fact that was simply just not going to work for me, because all that stuff is such bullshit. That
it is.
But when people hear the word like healthy, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
this person that has a 6-pack
Yeah.
on Instagram.
Yes.
Like, has
Yes.
it. Yeah.
And also half the time, not for nothing, but
Yeah.
I doubt those guys are even eating that food.
Exactly.
They're just doing it for the sponsor or just to, I don't know, show off, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And
guys,
then
don't fall for that bullshit.
there's a bunch of companies that label themselves as, oh, like we're for runners or we're for working out.
Cliff.
Cliff, Bare Naked
Bare-
Granola. Like you look, you're like, oh wow, like, or this is it. They'll put like 10 grams of protein per serving. And someone's like, oh, it's healthy because that's 10
And they
grams.
grab it.
And then you turn it around and it's like, but also 15 grams of sugar, added sugar.
Which is insane.
Exactly.
And like, okay,
And then people don't know why they're not seeing any progress. And it's like, because you don't know actually what you're
eating garbage.
Yeah, exactly. But they think it's good because
of the packaging, of the marketing.
packaging.
Yeah.
Or like, I love stores like Trader Joe's and Whole Foods.
Me too.
Because they have a lot of organic things and healthy options. But people have to understand that not everything there
Thank you.
is a healthy option.
Thank you.
You know? So
so that made me think that a couple weeks ago, Trader Joe's, because everyone knows I'm a huge Trader Joe's.
oh, I'm a groupie.
Yeah, I'm 100%. But they were posting all these new healthy items, overnight oats, for
Okay.
example. And sure, okay, vanilla overnight oats, whatever. 10 grams of sugar in a little cup.
Yeah, seriously.
And it's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. Companies like Cliff. And it makes sense in the context of it's a quick snack when you're on a hike. Because a lot of the times you're just going to burn those calories off anyways.
And also when you're on a hike, like sometimes you do need those sugars.
Absolutely.
But I would much rather feed my body with natural sugars
100%.
than those processed added sugars, which is only going to cause inflammation in your body. Because gut health is human health.
Yeah.
You know? Like 60
Guys,
to
he said it.
70% of your immune system comes back to the health of your gut.
That's true.
There's millions of bacteria
Yep.
that are in there. And if you're eating processed foods, which are going to cause inflammation,
Yes.
then you're going to feel shitty, you know?
Our skin, I mean, Sam and Kevin's skin is flawless because of our gut health.
Like, remember my skin? I used to be
I
breaking
know.
out all
That's
the
what I'm
time.
saying. Absolutely.
And
And
it's like crazy.
6 months ago, I was having really terrible breakouts, and it was all in my T-zone, and I just assumed it was stress. But ever since I've been doing the FODMAP diet, all of that food that was disrupting my gut is no longer my diet, and my skin has been flawless ever since.
And you're eating all those foods that are natural antioxidants, which is another thing when companies brand themselves. Like, if you have to go out of your way to brand yourself as an antioxidant, it's like...
In what way? So like that.
Like how we said about the foods that say like 10 grams of protein on the front or something like that. But there's a lot of foods that are natural antioxidants.
Absolutely.
Just like polyphenols, which...
What are those?
There's what I was just explaining before, how they're like in cacao and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Cacao, not to be confused with Hershey's chocolate bar.
Yeah, can we not?
Like, I have a 0 gram at 0 added sugar cacao powder, which I love. Navita's, it's great addition, especially. I made like this brownie skillet the other day.
Oh, what was it?
Of course, I have a big sweet tooth too.
Yeah.
And it was literally just egg whites, a banana, and cacao powder to add the chocolateness.
Sick, yeah.
And it was really good. So, and I combined that with my vice. So obviously everyone knows vice is bad behavior or something like that. But my vice, the one thing I keep in my diet that I cannot stay away from is ice cream. And I actually believe that having a vice is kind of important to keep a good relationship with food.
100%.
Because you want that thing that you love, you know? And that thing for me is ice cream. Even though that is my vice, I'm not going out and killing a pint of Ben & Jerry's.
You're eating it in moderation.
Yeah, I'm eating healthy ice cream brands. Actually, Nick's ice cream, it's Swedish ice cream.
Okay.
And it has the creaminess of regular ice cream, it has no added sugar.
Wow.
And it's 60 calories per serving.
Wow.
So even though that is my vice,
you're going about it smart.
Exactly. You know, and there are ways to go about so many things in a smart way. Really, if you just look into it, because dieting is in no way limiting.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's something that, like,
I know
everyone needs to step away from. Thinking that, eating right. No. Dieting is eating healthy is not eating less. It's eating right.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
there's so many ways to replace different foods and stuff in your diet. Just people either don't have the dedication to do it or the commitment to do it or the discipline.
Yeah.
Which is really what it comes down to. You know, they don't want to put in the effort. Which is...
Well, to bounce off of that, I would love to go through our deep dive of America's breakfast.
Okay.
Because it is my new obsession in, I guess, a good way. But I'm more obsessed in the fact that I want to stop people from eating the breakfast that they're eating, because I do believe that breakfast is the most important meal of the day because of
I love it.
Of what it does to your brain.
Breakfast is my favorite meal because I can't focus when I'm hungry.
Yes.
And you're coming off the longest fast of the day because you're sleeping.
Exactly.
And also
breakfast, you're breaking fast.
Exactly.
That's why breakfast is called breakfast.
And it just gives me the energy to start my day. I also like to do a workout in the morning, so I'll have a little snack before just to get my energy up.
Okay.
But also I'm always hungry as hell after
yes.
my
Oh,
workout
exactly.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And need to replenish everything like that. But really, breakfast is my favorite meal of the day. But a lot of thing is the breakfast that I eat, the breakfast that you eat, is completely different than the breakfast America eats.
Totally. So I found this YouTube video.
Okay.
And it was all about it was as if this person had read my mind about breakfast, because it was all the things I wanted someone to say, and he just said it for me. And that's what kind of was the perfect timing, because I just came across that video a couple days ago after I decided to do this.
It's like the whole video, you were just like,
yeah, no, like the entire time I was like, yes. And so he opens up and he talks about how the this is gonna sound like super hipster, but the construct of breakfast. Okay. And he said, America created what we see as breakfast, which is pancakes, waffles, cereal, Pop-Tarts, and it's all just
sugar.
It's all sugar. It's all dessert.
Added sugar, not even natural.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he was going through the IHOP menu, and it goes, scrambled eggs with some bacon and some toast. And he goes, already there, if you compare that to where that breakfast came from, I think he showed an example of Greece, maybe. He goes, if you go to Greece and you ask for the egg and bacon breakfast,
the basic breakfast,
they bring you the eggs, the bacon, and maybe some toast, but also there's tomatoes, there's spinach, and all that stuff. So over in fatty fat America, we take away all that's good about the first meal of the day, and we fill it up with crap.
Because so many people are convinced that, like, if it doesn't have butter and doesn't have sugar, it's not good, when that's not true.
It's so not
all.
true.
Exactly.
And you said this at the beginning of the podcast. It's because of the cereal and the dairy industry.
Exactly.
And they have an agenda.
And it started in the 1950s.
Yep.
First of all, Betty Crocker was made to convince moms to include processed foods in everyday foods, like, because they heard a name like Betty Crocker, thinking, oh, like that's another mother or something like that, and their foods, we want to include their foods in our meal prepping and stuff like that, which were processed foods. It was literally a marketing ploy by the company, which
that's
stuff
insane.
Like that, or stuff like Kellogg's, where even Cheerios, people think a healthy part of
it's
great
bullshit.
breakfast.
It's all bullshit.
It's like what? Like,
it's not real, because I followed this like junk food Instagram account. You know those, right?
Yeah.
And it's this guy, and he eats all the food that I would never eat, but he's like eating it for me in a way.
You like to look at people doing it?
Totally.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
So he was posting about this new, Kellogg's cereal pancakes. I'm like, what the hell's a cereal pancake?
Yeah.
So now, not only if you go into the cereal aisle, did you see Peeps cereal, Hershey Kiss cereal,
Sour Patch cereal?
Oh, like what?
Yeah, I know.
No. But now they're making pancake mix that is filled with cereal pieces that taste like that cereal, but also you're gonna pair it with a syrup. So the Captain Crunch pancakes, you pair it with a blue, artificially flavored and colored syrup. And then I think the Lucky Charms cereal, you pair with a red, artificially colored syrup.
But if you are making your child that, I'm calling DIFUS.
100%.
And if you think, oh, like, my kid likes this, that, your kid will like what you eat.
Oh my God. You are reading my mind, because my biggest fight is when I grew up, I remember thinking my mom is the fucking worst because she's literally, like, I would fight for my mom to buy me Cocoa Puffs, Cookie Crisp,
seriously,
everything. And now I thank my lucky stars and my mom, shout out to my mom, for not buying me that poison.
Seriously. And remember when I was super chubby? Every morning I would have either Frosted Flakes.
No,
I would have Reese's Puffs. Remember
really?
how chubby I was? And it was stuff like that.
I didn't realize that you were eating that.
That was
kind
like
of...
my favorite cereal. And what's so crazy is the cereal I eat now. So I don't go above ever. Like I aim for 0 grams of added sugar almost in everything.
Okay.
But sometimes sometimes
you can't avoid it. You just go
exactly.
for it. Yeah,
I will never go. Like my max is 5 grams, but usually 4 grams of added sugar, just because, obviously, like you said, which is this one cereal I love that I eat now, which is a great filler for me because it leaves me full, especially if I plan on working out later or something like that. And it's literally just pecans, almonds, cranberries,
love that.
And like oat flakes and stuff.
I
like
love
that
that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, were you watching that? Well, the full-length episodes of Shmee are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor.fm. So if you don't want to have FOMO and me missing the rest of the party where we're playing games, sharing more stories, and more of me, then head over there and I'll see you. Links are below this video. And if you want to support this podcast, head over to Anchor.fm where you can donate money to make Shmee even better. All right, I will see you guys there. Bye! Seriously, what are you waiting for? Go!